Whenever you're breaking news on the internet, especially in this modern day, there's a lot of people that go, what the hell does this guy know? Yeah, right.
He doesn't know.
Right. They forget that although you're Italian and you age wonderfully, you have been doing this a very long time. The big news that I saw this reaction to was whenever you put out a tweet, and I assume a post on ProFootballTalk.com or NBCSports.com, now Pro Football Talk, we're picking up very credible indications that Kirk Cousins is planning a potential move of his family from Minnesota to Atlanta. Obviously, that is massive because Kirk Cousins, free agent quarterback. Atlanta potentially looking for a quarterback, need a quarterback. So everybody puts one and two things together. Kirk Cousins got the Atlanta Falcons. They're going to pay him very good money. Now, we are acting as if what you were saying, because we know you very well, and we acknowledge your, being in the. We acknowledge the Mike Florio information and connection in this entire thing. Is this real? How real is this? And what does that mean whenever you put that tweet out? Because I'm putting Russell Wilson in Minnesota now because Kirk is in Atlanta. That's what happens whenever one of those tweets take place. You need to know that with a rambunctious Irish 0.01% Italian man who has a daily show who follows along with your Twitter account, pal. And I'm not the only one.
And look, I'll peel back the curtain a little bit. When you do this 23 years, you get to know a lot of people, both in and out of the business. We get emails, we get tips, we get clues, we get things all the time. And a lot of times what happens is you get a tip from somebody and it seems credible. You run it by somebody you know in an effort to see whether or not it's real or whether or not it's BS. And you start to build a sense and an indication. And what we wrote yesterday, and I spoke a little bit more about it on our morning show, PFT Live. I mean, you got things coming back to me that I confirm from people who would know that there's an effort to look for maybe schools for the kids, house for the family, up to and including, I haven't confirmed this part yet, but it's just one of those little things that makes sense. Talking to the guy who currently wears number 8, Kyle Pitts, about getting number 8 before any of this stuff is done.
So when you're hearing this, you're just hearing this from people that are in the know at the time.
Here's what happens. In this case, and I got to be careful because I can't disclose names, but you have very loyal readers of the site who, when they find something out, however they find it out, they want to share it with you. So then you get it and you vet it through people who know. And then the end result is, holy shit, that tip was right. Holy crap, this stuff is happening. And
that's why you're hated. And that's why some people get very mad when Florio potentially gets something.
Look, I think people get mad because they don't want bad news about their team. So there's a knee-jerk reaction to dismiss anything that you don't want to hear. What a shock in this day and age. We hear something we don't want to hear, and we say it's bullshit.
We were just talking about this with Bill Burr. Bill Burr agrees with you, by the way. Yeah, there's a whole conversation.
So it's our own way of staying in our silo. We stay in our teepee. We stay with our tribe. We just say and do whatever we believe, and when we hear something that goes against it, they're full of shit. It's fake news. It's baloney. It's whatever. So I get it. I understand it. But sometimes it pisses me off because it's like, if I was going to make stuff up, it'd be a hell of a lot more interesting than the stuff that you say. Trust me. It'd be a hell of a lot more interesting.
You're a good author. Father of mine, obviously available right now.
Well done.
Incredible book.
$3.99 now for the ebook.
Let's go.
Hey, well done by you, too. Good promo.
Smart.
Hey, good
we got some, as you would say, up to something with maybe a little movie.
TV
show. Up to something season, baby.
No, so let me tell you how up to something season works. Okay, you don't say what it is.
Oh, well, shit.
It's like
I'm learning.
I'm up to something, but when you say I'm up to something, what you're initially up to might evolve.
Yeah.
So whenever you go movie, what if it's a series now?
It could be neither. Likely neither, but at least you're in the game a little bit.
But
you learn a lot about it. It's not an easy game, but I'm learning a little about it.
But you're definitely up to something. You're up to something, which we appreciate. So let's talk about potential other things that could take place, and you can debunk if it is a detractor to the Kirk Cousins to Atlanta thing. Is there a chance, though, that maybe he has multiple suitors currently, and he's checking other cities' places, too, to kind of see what it would cost to live there, what the schooling would look like? Like, is there a chance he is potentially looking into it, but not necessarily the conclusion that I jumped to immediately upon reading your tweet? Like, that means he's going to Atlanta. Like, have you had any other conversations with people about like Atlanta's interest in Kirk? And what do you sense that is? Because from outside looking in, would make sense seemingly for both parties.
Right. And remember when he was a free agent in 2018, 6 years younger and completely healthy. There were two teams, the Vikings and the Jets. So it's not like there was a land rush the last time Kirk Cousins was a free agent. Now that he's going to be available again, and there's nothing the Vikings can do to stop it, they can't tag him today. The contract is constructed. He is going to the market. I believe, and again, I got to be careful about stuff that's off the record, on the record, and I don't want to burn any relationships, but I'll tell you this. Friday before the Super Bowl, Kirk Cousins was on PFT Live. Our set was right next to yours at Radio Row. After we interviewed Kirk Cousins and KJ Osborne together, and you talk to people ahead of time, you talk to people afterward. My wife's talking to Julie Cousins, Mrs. Cousins, and I'm hanging around for some of the conversation, and I pick some things up in that conversation, and I come away from all of it thinking it's Minnesota or it's Atlanta. She's from the area. Her parents live there. It's Minnesota or Atlanta. And I got the sense, and I don't think I'm talking out of school here, I got the sense that maybe there was a little frustration that, the Vikings have had a long time to try to work out a deal with Kirk. And you get to a certain point where you F around and find out. And you let it go too far down the tracks. And even if the Vikings will say, oh, wait, the Falcons are paying you that, we'll match it. There's a chance they're going to say, sorry, you had your chance. They're showing us love. Right?
Interesting.
You're just showing a begrudging willingness to match what we were able to get from somebody who really wants us. So we're going to go to the place where we think they really want us. They're risking that. The Vikings are risking that in not getting this done when they had the exclusive ability to do it. Pretty soon they don't.
I can understand where you're coming from. And I think from watching quarterback, Kirk loves Minnesota.
Yep.
And from the way it's being talked about from the Minnesota Vikings side, they would love to have Kirk Cousins back as well. And you bring up Mrs. Cousins, she's cool. Hey, we got a chance to chat with her at that quarterback premiere for Netflix.
Yeah.
You remember we just stumbled into that. I have no idea how we ended up at that. Just so happened to be at the right place and like, hey, do you want to go do this?
Yep.
Yeah, kind of do. Walked in there, Mahomes, Kelsey, it's quarterback premiere at Netflix. It was the dumbest thing. Blue carpet? Was it a blue carpet?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Something like that.
Change
I was in a quarter. 70, 80 milligrams.
Oh, it was hilarious.
70, 80 milligrams. Had no idea that I was going to this thing.
Yep.
And then found out it's happening. It's like, well, we've already come too far.
A million photographers there.
We are all the way gone, but got a chance to chat with Mrs. Cousins. Georgia Bulldog.
Yep.
Like that, you say coming down the tracks there. I mean, that remind me of the Call of the Dogs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like Georgia, that is a tie. I completely forgot about that being a family situation potentially down there for Kirk.